What's going on YouTube? I know I've been a little bit short on my videos because there has been a million and one things going on for months on end with this house, guys. As you can see, we've got another trench dug here because we had some more water problems. So I'm trying to direct the water out of this area, sending it that way. I got French draining to do outside, but we've got that kind of taken care of, guys. We have got finally all the plumbing almost done. I say almost because this pipe right here still has to be replaced. He did cut in and put a new one up to here, but then he decided that, you know what, this is about one of the only last pipes remaining, and part of this pipe had a crack in it, so we're just going to go ahead and replace it. We're going to replace this whole run. He's just going to redo what he did already, replace the whole run, which is like 6-7 feet. Other than that, everything else is done, guys. We've got the toilet moved and installed. We got the new AquaSure water softener moved over. That used to be over here, and we moved it over here and installed. We have the new whole house filter. 6 filters good for 6 months. Usually you got to change them out every 3 months. This is a bad boy here. We also have another filter that we originally bought for the house. We didn't want to not use it, so we went ahead and are now filtering out the water that goes to the furnace for the swamp cooler. So now that water is being filtered. We got all the proper shutoff valves for the main, bypass shutoff valves. We have a faucet turn off right there, so I can drain the system easily from right in here, turn it on, bypass it to that, drain it right to the sub pump when we want to leave the house and we don't want to leave water going. We've got new lines right here that are running to the new tub that we never had. Remember, there used to be a sink right here. Now we've got a tub. The washer now, instead of running all the way up in here, now runs a lot less high, which is good for it, to just to the tub. We also have a pump. We have a self-pumping system here. It will recognize when it has water, and it sucks it right out, guys. So that's all working great. All this crap that was going on right here, lines, we all took out. We capped this, no longer needed, and we have everything running to the main drain to the septic field and waste and whatnot. He replaced a lot of this stuff here. New drain lines for the dehumidifier and also the water that comes from the high efficiency furnace. We've got the hot water tank. We did have a bit of a problem. Ooh, that's kind of a little bit loose. I'll have to ask about that. Anyway, we got a new pipe put in here, guys. I just got a bucket there because we did have a leak. That's why we put a new pipe in right here. The PCV valve, I believe it's called, went bad. Got corroded up, so then it allowed water to start leaking through here a lot, which luckily the drain caught it. We got a new expansion tank here, so for any extra pressure, instead of going through the lines, we'll go through the expansion tank. We've got new lines ran the water to this swamp cooler. Didn't have to do anything with the drain lines. The drain lines are still good. They may look a little rough. I might sand them down or whatever a little bit, but they might look a little rough, but they're fine. We do have a new hose that runs to the sub pump, so that way that can't leak at all. It never did, but we want to make sure I had an old hose hooked up to it. So that's it, guys. So you got all the lines here. It took a long time. Well, we also we disconnected the water sprinklers because you shouldn't have a water sprinkler system over the septic field. So there was no reason to have one, and it was all done by Joel, the previous owner, and I don't trust anything he's done. Didn't want it anyways because I'm not going to run it and water the lawn over the septic field because that's stupid. You don't want to oversaturate your septic field. So we pulled that all out. I just have to pull it out of the wall, fix all that. New ductwork for the dryer. New shutoff valves for the washer and dryer, new water lines for the washer and dryer, new outside faucet water levers, shutoff levers for the faucet outside, and we also have a new faucet outside. Even though that was replaced a couple years ago, he just went ahead and put in a new faucet free. New line here that drains the swamp cooler water out to the pond. That was leaking at the elbow. We dug outside, dug down, make sure it was all connected correctly. That's all done. We're gonna leave the hole in the block because it's still covered from the outside, so nothing's getting in. But I just wanted to insulate it. I might eventually get fancy and do a cover plate or something. I don't want to re-cement it because right now I can easily pull the insulation out and check and see if there's any leaking or whatever going on. So this room, guys, this washer and dryer room, we put this little sign back up, laundry room. This room is going to be the only room in the house that, other than keeping neat and clean and tidy, I'm not going to give a shit about what it looks like. This is the mechanical room of the house. The one thing I like about this tri-level home is everything is pretty much accessible, other than a couple of lines that run under the crawl space, right, to get to the kitchen. The lines to the bathroom all run up through here. The showers. Your main stuff is here. There's not a lot of rooms that can have a problem, that can create a problem in the main house. If anything's going to happen, if the bathroom's going to leak, it's going to come right down through here. If the kitchen leaks, it's going to leak right down, yeah, through the floor, but it's going to go right into the crawl space that's got plastic down there now. But still, it's going to leak down in the crawl space and not cause a problem. The only problem we can technically have and it can destroy is the basement, which we've already had happen, and that's why we've redone it, is, and that's why that wall's ripped out. Am I going to replace that wall? I did foam in all that crevices because that crevice and all that led right into the crawl space. Over the brick wall, any critter, any bug, anything could come right on in. So I did that from both sides in the crawl space and out here. I stuffed insulation where all the pipes go through there, through that big hole in the block, so try to eliminate a lot of stuff coming in through there. I spray foamed all the seams that I could. I'm going to caulk that seam because it's so thin. I'm just going to go ahead and caulk that one. It's just a board, but the board goes to the crawl space. So I just want to make sure everything is sealed up as tight as possible so we don't get creepy crawlies and spiders. We don't get too many, but we did get quite a few when we moved in here, and that was because everything was exposed. In the wall, not knowing it, that was exposed. These seams were exposed. Where the door opens with insulation was exposed. This is the only part that I'm going to have to keep putting in and out, because when the door opens it falls out. It's just a little bit of a pain in the ass. I think eventually I'll get some rubber seal or figure out a better way, but for now I want it sealed off. This is an air vent for airflow, so technically it could go through there, but I mean, you're not going to prevent everything, but I want to do my damnedest to prevent most of it. Right here's where the door shuts, so there's a little gap here. I'm probably going to put like a rubber strip right there that I can meet up to. But for the most part, guys, I use some block, some foam block there just to cover the holes that were cut before for the pipes that ran through that we don't no longer need. The plumber did an excellent job, my buddy Dave, plumbing all this stuff. And I mean, guys, this all, if you remember, all this here, everything you see right here, all this had plumbing lines. You still can see some of the remnants of the holders, like straps and stuff. But all through here, guys, I had freaking a line here, I had a line here, I had two filters that made no sense. I had shut-off valves that made no sense. I had multiple points of areas that could leak. Yes, we still have some. Obviously, you need some. You know, you need shut-off valves for everything. But, guys, it was a nightmare. We have a new line here for the humidifier for the wintertime. Hooked up to a new quarter valve. I mean, we've done everything the right way. The only lines that haven't been replaced are the main runs to the kitchen. But going up, there are new attachments that go up into the kitchen with new shutoffs. So a couple of straight runs we didn't have to replace that are copper, and they're fine. They're not leaking, and they're just straight runs. So I don't know if I showed you guys the crawl space too much. We'll get down there in a second. I did tape up this line. This is essentially a real wide line when you open this door. It's got to open, so you got a crack right here. Technically, I could make a whole new wall here and make it a lot tighter, but guys, I'm going to throw white paint on it. I'm going to replace that vent. I'm going to clean it up in here, right? Not soon. It's not a priority. But eventually I am going to come down here and I'm going to paint all the stuff I can get to paint. I'm going to paint. Maybe one weekend I just paint this and one wall, right? I'm going to cut out this where it got wet and saturated and soft. I'm going to cut this part out. And I'm probably just going to, you know, I'm probably going to cut a little piece of drywall, screw it in, mud it, half-ass mud it. It's not going to be a great job, guys. I threw up a curtain, you know, just to block everybody from being able to, we can see us using the bathroom or whatever. This is like an emergency toilet. This toilet, guys, was $900 because it's an, I think they call it a emancipating toilet. Essentially, because there's no plumbing, gravity-fed plumbing, it's got to chew up the debris, you know, the waste. So it's got a macerator in it that chews it all up and sends it through this, I think this is a 1-inch pipe. So these toilets are very expensive, guys. But it's nice to have because, like right now, my wife's is up showering. I need to use the bathroom. She wants privacy, or people come over, or one person's feeling sick. You got another toilet, right? We all want more than one toilet. So yeah, we don't have a traditional full bath, second bath, but we have a toilet. We have a sink that you can use for a lot of different things on top of, you know, washing your hands and whatever. But yeah, I plan on cleaning it up in here more. I plan on, you know, putting up some of these holes probably just to make it look a bit better. Throwing a quick coat of paint on it, cutting out that crap right there. Maybe eventually, I'm not going to get to this a lot. I did hang this here because our Wi-Fi box and everything, one went here on a little shelf, one went here. It was kind of cluttered and shit. So instead I decided to drill a hole through there, come out here, drill a hole through the new wall. I've got a nice brush style cover that's going to cover that hole and look nice. And then our new Wi-Fi system is up here on top of one of our dressers. It looks fine, it looks clean, it is what it is. We just upgraded our new Wi-Fi box. We're getting almost 1,000 gigabytes per second. They actually did that for free. I was actually going to call and complain because our price has been continuing to go up constantly, guys. It's like $117 now a month. We started out like $70, and they don't give any warning. They just keep increasing it over the course of months. And I was about to say, hey man, I can go to Comcast, right? $70. To be honest with you guys, I don't want to go to Comcast. Nightmare of a company. I swore I'll never deal with them again. So I want to keep my word on that. It's been over a decade since I've gone back to Comcast because of their bullshit. Had not had a problem with what company? Spectrum. Spectrum has been great for us here. Honestly, the internet we had didn't work too bad. Honestly, I can't say it worked even too bad is acting like it worked bad. It worked pretty good. But when I logged into our account, it said that we could upgrade for free to a new modem and go from like 400 to 600 megabytes per second to, you know, 8 to 1,000 megabytes per second for free. It's a free upgrade, no extra charge, no anything. So I just did it all online, didn't have to talk to nobody. I said okay, and whatever. Man, they shipped us the box within 2 days, and they shipped the box to us within a couple of days. We hooked it up today, and yeah, we did a speed test, and my wife got like 900 plus megabytes per second, and I got like, my phone might not be as great, but I got like 800. I mean, way more than what we'll ever need. But nowadays, everything's on internet, so it's nice to have the strength and the power and the speed. So now I'm not going to bitch about the price because I feel like we're getting what we should be getting for our money. Don't mind how I look, guys. I'm, you know, one of those days, right? Anyways, so yeah, you guys, so in here, still needs to be cleaned up. I plan on getting rid of this thing for the clothes, for drying some of our clothes that we don't want to dry. I plan on running a rod or a board or something, a pipe or something somewhere here, or somewhere where we can hang some clothes, or maybe up here, little corner unit or something, so we can hang some clothes and not have to have this big old thing. So there's a lot of detail work and cleaning up that we have to do, and, you know, there's a hole down there where we had a flood. So that night needs to be re-drywalled. But honestly, I think I bought some more of this right here. This insulation foam board. I'm just going to cut it to fit, guys. And I'm going to screw it in. Just like I screwed it in down there to cover up those holes down there. Because again, what do I care? Look at this wall. It's all gouged up. I mean, it's a mechanical room. You know what I'm saying? The only room that's not going to be beautiful and pretty is going to be this room. It's going to be clean. It's going to be swept. It's going to be, you know, all that and whatever. But this is a room that don't need to be, you know, fancy. It's to come in here and get the house done. If there's a problem, I want to be able to get in here and do work. I'm not going to sit here and worry about drywall. Oh, you know, why would I patch that with official drywall, mud it, screw it, make it look pretty? If something happens, rip it back out. It don't make no sense. So we're not going to do that. Now, under the crawl space went from being a muddy, nasty mess. I'll show you guys. So we got the light here from the old neighbors that still had that little pull string light, but my buddy Dave, the plumber, he put in some more hanging lights for us, and for free, guys. He gave them to me. Really nice of him to do that. Let me open this up. So this is the stuff I got to pull out every time I open it, which I'm hoping won't be a lot. So we're going to pull a lot of this out, and we'll put it back when we're done. That one luckily will stay. Make sure it don't fall. Put this up here. Alright, let's open this up. Okay. You never know when you open up crawl spaces, guys, what you're going to run into. Anyways, this thing was a wreck. We got a new sub pump. The pipe used to come up and over. When we had the first initial problem, Dave fixed all that and re-ran it even a second time with a back valve, check valve so it can't backfill. All that good shit, right? We laid down all new fresh plastic. Let me sit here, guys, and kind of tell you what we did. This tape's going to come off. I got a rubber seal anyways for right here. I'll show it, guys, later. Anyways, I came down here. I ripped out all the wiring, too. A whole bunch of cable wiring down here, guys, that didn't need to be. These lights right here is what Dave hung for me on top of just that bulb light. It lights up all down here. I'll turn it on in a second. I got it hooked up to a clicker so I can turn it on and off from, you know, without having to plug it in and out. If you guys look way over there, those massive tanks, if you can see them, those massive tanks are bladder tanks. They get filled full of water from the well. The bigger, all things I'm learning, guys, but the bigger the bladder tank, right? The bigger the bladder tank, the less your well pump has to run. Your well pump can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. So if the well pump starts pumping and fills up two 86-gallon tanks, that's 172, right around there, 172 gallons of water. Okay, 80 and 80 is 160. Yeah, 172 gallons. That's a lot of damn water, guys. You figure between just me and my wife living here, even if in a shower, if we both took a shower, you know, at a couple gallons a minute, 10-minute showers, you're looking at 40 gallons of water for both of us to shower, washing dishes, I mean, giving birds water. I mean, you're not going to use up that kind of water for days. So that means once the well pumps all those tanks full of water, it may not pump water again for a week. So that's going to be the less times that well pump has to continue to pump water. The less it has to continue to pump water, the longer it's going to last. Okay. Now, how much has it been used? Well, they had a pretty good sized tanks in here before. They had like 63-gallon tanks, two of them. One had failed. We didn't know that. You don't really know, right? They're both connected, but one was failed. It just held water. It wasn't doing anything. So, and we weren't going to replace them, guys, but we decided to replace them just because we were getting to the point where everything else was being done, and we were just, you know, we figured they're about 15 years old, and we just said, you know what, we just might as well do it, get it done. So long story short, guys, we replaced them. We thought they were these big tanks. They weren't. They were one size under the 86-gallon tanks. These tanks are 86 gallons. They were 63. So these things are massive. So my plumber had to dig down into the ground a little bit to get them to fit. Then he replumbed everything. And then we had a I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say, but we had a huge ass storm and we looked down in here, and we had leaking going on. Not luckily in the house, but down here in the crawl space, it was just, it saturated that corner of the house so bad that it lifted those tanks right up. They're connected, right? But it lifted it up and leaned one over into the other one. It was so full of water just sitting there. So Dave came over and he dug a trench, and he put in a French drain. He did the stone. He pivoted it all the way down, all the way to here. Ran it all the way to the septic, or I'm sorry, all the way to the sub pump. And he laid down the stone, then he laid down the pipe, then he wrapped the pipe, then he put in the stone, and then he stoned in around all the, he ran them all the way to the footers properly. The drain they had before was above ground. It was up and down above ground, and it wasn't pitched correctly. It was clogged full of dirt. It just wasn't done right at all. Ever since he put that new French drain in, guys, just at this 1 footer, all the other ones seem to be working pretty good, and they're actually buried. We don't get any wetness way out there. Ever since he did that, it's been nice and dry. You can stick your hand down in that pebble stone all around the tanks, and your hand will be dry. There's no water. So that's a great thing. Then we ripped out all the plastic that we had already laid down after the first time. Took it all out because it was dirty and crappy and wet. We laid down all new 6 mil plastic. I do need to go, I think actually we did 4 mil. I think when I get back to work, I'm going to invest in like 10 mil. And I'm going to put a whole nother layer of plastic over this. So it's super thick layer of plastic. But even with just this plastic down, guys, and not even going up the wall, this is keeping it a lot drier. You're not getting that musty smell at all anymore. I don't break out when I come under here. I can actually come under here, guys, and I'm okay. I'm using some crates to put some storage in here. Stuff that I don't care if it did get ruined, but essentially it's detailing supplies in plastic bottles and stuff like that in boxes, some in totes. And then I do have my CRTV, my brand new CRTV that's only been open one time. I've got that down here only temporarily, guys, because it's just so big, takes up so much space. I do know you don't want to have it in humid conditions for very long. It's only been down here for maybe 4 or 5 days. It is off the ground and all that, but the humidity down here is very high still. It's like 70-some%. I was running that dehumidifier right there. It was showing 76%. That can get it down to about 56% or so. It struggles though, and it shuts down. It's been shut down for a while because I knew it, but that thing is made for inside the house in like in our room, right? It'll do quite a bit of square footage, and it'll do down here. But I got to come in here like consistently, like every 4 hours to dump it because there's so much moisture. So with that being said, guys, look how nice and clean it is down here, and like everything. I can have this thing open. I don't get that musty smell creeping into the house anymore. It's great. There's still more work to be done when I get back to work, guys. But this drain right here, this drain is plugged with a bolt plug. Why? Because the drain don't work. Now, we have tried to use it because I wanted to test it and see if it did work. It took a lot of water, and then eventually it backfills. And it eventually does take the water. It eventually over time does go down. So wherever it's going, the old owners told me that it goes out to the back, but it's been plugged up for years. So it's going to somewhere, and then it's eventually over time settling out. But it's not done right, and it's definitely not going to take, if you have a massive leak from the water heater or whatever, it's not going to take any water, and there's a possibility water could backfill up through that drain. So, I believe probably sometime, it might have to be next year, we're either going to cement cut all this out right here, and we're going to run a drain to the I always forget what that's called, guys, but the basin for the sub pump basin hole or whatever. And we're going to make sure this drain works. Nice short run right to there so it can pump everything out. So that way we have a drain that we know works. Or we're going to try to follow that drain to where it goes, figure out where the clog is, and see if that drain will continue to work, but make sure we get it opened up and piped correctly or whatever. But I think the easier way is going to be to find where it's going, because from what he said, it goes out behind the house, which can get saturated already back there anyways. So it'd be better to just backfill that in, clog it up with cement so it can't do any problems, and cut a new one, because it'd be a lot shorter of a run from right here all the way to there. You're talking 10, 12 feet. We also are going to dig out this basin hole for the pump. We're going to make it a much bigger and deeper hole that can handle a little bit more water going into it, since we have so many things. And just because right now it's not bad. It's not, I wouldn't say it's shallow per se, but it's definitely could need to be a little bit bigger. It also needs a proper basin put in, because right now you got some roots coming in and stuff. So it needs a little bit of work. Anyways, we also have our battery backup system for the sub pump right here, all plugged in, ready to go. If we lose power, this thing has ran it for like 3 days. I've tested it, so definitely enough time for me to get here and to get the generator plugged in case we ever lose power, and that way that doesn't backfill up and flood the house. So they got the battery sitting on some wood, because you shouldn't have a battery sitting on cement, from what I've been told. So it's sitting on wood, and then the battery inverter right here plugged in. So essentially the power, normal power, runs into the inverter and powers everything that you plugged in. There's a couple other plugs you can plug other things into. That then is connected to the battery. When this thing loses main power, it's then meant to kick on and pull power off this battery. The battery has to be an AGM battery. It's also a marine battery. Definitely some good wattage that'll, be able to run the pump for quite a few days. Anyways, so that's that. A lot of work, guys. And between that work, we ran into many problems. We ran into problems with the new stuff, because we had a leak, or maybe the elbow. Not too many, but we had definitely had some problems and stuff that happened. Unfortunately, it did cause me some grief. I had to pull the carpet back up because it leaked. We had just a drip over here, because one of his, I forget now, I'm lost of words here, but essentially these crimp points, a crimp point was kind of like, he put the pipe kind of in on an angle, and it didn't crimp good. Got a drip, didn't notice it until it started flooding into the living room, or into our bedroom. It didn't create damage where I had to replace the carpet, but it did create enough damage that I had to take out the pad, put down a new pad, dry it for days, blah, blah, blah. We also had a leak right here with the elbow. This elbow wasn't taking. It dripped. Didn't cause too much of a problem, but that's why I had to cut out this wall and make sure I got it good and dry and soaked it all up. So we had a couple hiccups, but for all the points and everything he's done, we aren't having any other problems. He's done a lot of work, guys, and he did it for a great price. All in, I got close to $9,000 to replumb the entire house. Valves, digging out, putting in a French drain under the house. I mean, just to do the French drain, if I'd have paid a plumber, they'd have charged me probably $2,500 to $3,000 just to do that. He's replumbed the entire house, helped me put in tanks, made runs to Home Depot multiple times, getting me different stuff, coming back, checking on things, fixing things, installing right here, installing the new Aquasure water softener system. I mean, just to do that, if you have a company come out, they're going to charge you $1,500. Between that and just guys, he really set me up real nice. So I was very pleased and happy with him doing that for us. Very appreciative of that. I mean, obviously we paid him good money too, but it was a good find. Became friends and all that good stuff. So my next point is, I told you guys that dehumidifier is not really meant for a crawl space. You can tell by the design of it. It's meant to be in a house. It's meant to dehumidify a nice big area, but in your home. It's not meant to be in a crawl space. So little did I know that a crawl space dehumidifier is quite expensive. You can spend, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. I wasn't going to spend that kind of money, guys, but I did find one that got really good reviews. It's still made for the crawl space. It's got a built-in pump system. If you get one that doesn't have a built-in pump system, essentially you're going to have to gravity feed it. So you'd have to put it up high, or high enough that your line slowly would come down and get down to the for the water to flow out as it's pumping out and dehumidifying the air. Technically I could easily do that, but I'm like, for the money, and I found this thing, I'm like, you know what, I want one with a built-in pump in case I ever need to bring it in somewhere else and there isn't no good way for me to gravity feed it or whatever. I can literally run this line. I could run this line, guys, out here, up here, and down here, just like this pump system. and it'll pump the water through and out. So I picked this up. It's made by Guardian, Abe's Storm. It's SN35P, heavy little sucker. It comes with tubes. It's got a built-in system, 20 foot of tube. Has a filter. I bought extra filters, that way I don't run out. It's got an auto pump system. It's a very simple. A lot of these things have, you know, all kinds of set it to this, that, and the other. All I want to do is set it, right? Turn the drain on, off, set it to where you want it. You can put it on continual pump or how many gallons and just let it ride. People said this thing has been very reliable, very good. Can do up to 7.3 gallons, I believe, of water a day. Don't really know or think we're going to have that kind of much. Maybe at first, but if it really pulls the water out. The reason why that's important to me, not even really is to store stuff down there. It's more so because just the other day when I was working down here, I had the door open and there was this gigantic fishing spider. Essentially, that's the name of the spider. It's called a fishing spider. And these things are freaking massive. They're very docile. They don't attack unless provoked, whatever, but they are freaking huge, guys. Like 3 inches, 4 inches, 3.5 inches. And they literally catch little fish and everything. I mean, they literally swim in water, on top of water, catch fish. They can go underwater because they can breathe or hold oxygen through their legs. Some crazy shit. These things are gnarly looking things. But not only them, they can bite you if they're threatened. And you get other little things, guys. Guys, I don't like creepy crawling shit. I don't like to be bit while I'm in bed. When we first moved in this house, we had, you name it, we had it. We had the roly-polies down here, those little gray things that roll up. We had spiders of all kinds. We had centipedes, which centipedes I've learned are only in your house because there's a food source. They actually don't really hurt your house, or they're actually good to have if you have that stuff because they attack and kill spiders and eat all the crap you don't want in your house. With that being said, I don't want any of them in my house. I don't want centipedes because I don't want a problem. I don't want anything. Now, I know that's impossible with any kind of a home, but the more you put time and effort into sealing up your home, you know, you'll never get it airtight. You want your house to be able to breathe anyways. But like this crawl space, guys, I have open holes. I had open 4 or 5 inch holes. I had that entire ductwork, guys. All this that's stuffed up in there when that door shuts, all that was open. Around and up was open. Like, they can just come right in. That part of the wall, when that wall was drywalled in, I didn't know that thing was gapped like it was. That goes straight in, guys. That went straight in. There's a wall in the crawl space, a cement wall about 3.5 feet tall that goes behind the stairs. They could come right over that, come behind the stairs, and come right through the wall. I mean, there's gaps here and stuff, right? I'm going to caulk all that, but they could come right in and figure out a way in, especially before we put up new walls and tightened it all up. All the caulking job I did down here, I caulked all the seams. So now even if they get behind the wall, they can't get in, at least for the most part. Since I've done just that, before I even caulked and filled all this, we have maybe gotten, if I can count, 3 to 5 things I've seen crawling around in here. I did find a spider. He was actually right by that door. Killed him. That big spider, killed him. But again, coming from the crawl. And then a couple of roly-poly things in here. Other than that, nothing. We've shaved down 90-95% of the crap coming in. And now that I've done all this, I've not yet to see one thing so far. Now, when saying all these bugs and all that crap, they love moisture. They love water. We even had a vole in here, guys. God knows how he got in. I walked around the whole house. Nowhere on the block is there an opening or a hole that a vole could get in. I don't think voles dig down deep enough to come up underneath the ground. I don't know. Maybe they tunneled in. I'm not sure. But man, this sumbitch was in my crawl space. He actually got into here. Okay, he got into here, was running along the wall. He came in through that hole where the pipe was running through. Now the pipe is not running through there at all anymore. and we foamed it in. Once he got back in the crawl, I crawled in there and I killed him. I had another one in the garage. I killed him. I ended up killing 2 or 3 of them. We had a whole mess of them living under our boat, my boat that I used to have. And I've only had a couple that were a problem, and now I have none. So I believe I killed the problem. Now, could they come back? Always can come back. We live behind woods. But if they come back, I'm hoping for a little bit of a reprieve. But if they come back, I'm going to deal with them. I'm probably going to call it a professional and just have them, you know, I do have some traps that are supposed to be really good, that got good reviews, so I will try trapping them and killing them myself. But if it becomes too big of a problem, because they really tore our yard up over the last year. Last year, I let them do whatever because I was too busy with other shit. But long story short is 3 of them. I killed 2 or 3. I believe I killed 2. 1 in the crawl, 1 in the garage. No, and I did kill another one. I killed 1 out by the pond. So yeah, I did kill 3. And ever since those have been dead, I'm getting no more tunnels, no more runs in the lawn. And they tore the lawn up. But the grass is starting to come back because they're not making their tunnels. But man, when I was cutting the grass the last couple times, I mean, they tore that lawn up bad, guys. And that's where my septic field is, and that I don't need them going too deep and screwing all that shit up. So they're a problem. So, all that to be said, that by taking the moisture out, if I run a heavy-duty dehumidifier in the crawl space, where without one, you're looking at 70-some%. Actually, let's check that out. Let me turn on the light here. It's not gonna I don't want to crawl under there right now because I gotta grab that thing. But anyway, just trust me, it was showing 76% humidity in there. That's way too high. You're gonna get the boards warping. We actually do have a couple of boards, support boards under the floor of the house that are starting to warp and pop off where they don't need to be. I'm probably gonna have to replace at some point. It's too high. Critters love that shit too. So the more I can pull the moisture out of there, if I can get it down to a 40 to 50%, it's gonna not attract all those bugs, spiders, all the crap that love that dark. I mean, they're still dark, but they're going to not want to be down there because there's the moisture. Their perfect little environment is not going to be so perfect anymore. It's going to be more dry, and they don't like that, which is going to keep them at bay. You're never going to fix it all, but it's definitely going to not attract nearly as much. I'm even debating on keeping a light bulb on down there all the time. I mean, what's it cost to run a light bulb a year? $5? Because they don't like light. They don't like to be exposed. They like dark. So if I leave a light down there, I'm thinking that'll also help, right? I don't know. It's worth the risk. Worth the chance. Anyways, the fire I paid like $379. It was like $100 off. I think it was actually more like $150 off. It was a really good price. Still kind of expensive. Way more expensive than the units you use in your house. Those you can pick up for 60, 70, 100, 150 bucks, you know, whatever. These things are square usually, heavy, got built-in pumps. They're made to run continuously. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run this thing continuously. And this one also is a little bit quiet. It does make some noise, but it's going to be quiet. So anyways, guys, I think there's a limit on YouTube. 39 minutes maybe. I'm at 38:40. I'm going to make another video once I get it set up, which is essentially plugging it in, running the line, whatever. Let me get it set up, and then we'll turn it on, and you guys can see it in action. All right, part 2 next.